I may have just found the ultimate 12-volt battery. This is a semi-solid state lithium iron phosphate battery, and check it out, 240 amp hours. That's over 3,000 watt hours. So that tiny footprint of a battery box right there, it has the equivalent battery capacity of this entire stack of power in power station form. Got internal communications, self-heating, IP67 waterproof, 7-year warranty, and a 240 amp BMS. So this thing's not joking around. So we're going to put those specs and claims to the test here, and we'll see if this battery is something that you don't want to miss out on. First and foremost, we obviously got the battery itself, and this is the business end of that battery. We've got the positive and the negative terminals. Then we've got some watertight communication ports for inter-battery communication as well as inverter communication. This is the Bluetooth antenna, because this does have Bluetooth app control. Came with 2 different sizes of post bolt, a little baggie of mounting hardware, and a few brackets that allow you to attach to the metal case of the battery and secure it, down to the ground. It is 240 amp hour battery. Check this out, 6,000 cycles is what it's rated for. And that's to 80% of the original capacity, so it's not garbage after 6,000 cycles. That's higher than normal. And you can connect them up to 4 in series, 4 in parallel. And then this is very impressive. Our maximum continuous charge current up to 240 amps, but then the maximum continuous discharge current is rated at 240 amps as well. To put that in perspective, your average 12 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery is generally only rated for 100 amps of discharge. And then its surge current is very impressive, 450 amps for up to 30 seconds. And we'll see if we can put some surge tests on this and see how it performs. Check this out, IP67 rated. So that's dirt and dust proof and waterproof up to 1 meter submerged in water for 30 minutes. Not too shabby. And then check this out too. Renogy is offering a full 7-year warranty on this battery. 5 is pretty standard, somewhat unique to get 7. So they must be very confident in their product. And then it's compatible with all of the, Renogy One monitoring equipment. And one more function about this battery that isn't clearly advertised, but it does have a self-heating function, and it will turn on anytime the battery is below 41 degrees, and then it will turn off once it raises the temperature of the battery up to 50 degrees. And it's a 120 watt heater. Capacity test time on this Renogy semi-solid state 12 volt battery. I've got the Victron Smart Shunt hooked up here, and that's what's going to be measuring the flow of power. And if you take a look here in the Smart Shunt app, we've got everything zeroed out. And if you take a look, we're at a really close to a 0.2C rate. That would be about 48 amps, and we're vacillating between 47 and 46. Okay, a couple hours later, the battery actually completely turned off. Had to wake it up with a little teeny boost from the charger here. And on this first capacity test, you can see we pulled 234 amp hours. So we'll charge back up and do one more test and just see what the results are after that. Okay, we're going to do a second capacity test. Once again, everything's zeroed out on the shunt. You can see we're just about perfectly on a 0.2C rate of discharge. Okay, we just finished the capacity test, and once again, the battery is the thing that shut down. You can see the inverter's off. There's usually a blue light on the shunt right here, and nothing is glowing. So I'm going to have to put just a teeny bit of charge on that to wake it up. And you should be able to see now the shunt is woken up. And the results of the second capacity test, 235 amp hours. A little better than last time. Still not quite the full advertised 240, but we're very close. Let me show you this Renogy app quick. You've got kind of a main home screen that just kind of gives you a quick snapshot of your battery percentage, your estimated time remaining, if there was a load or charging happening, and then what's happening in watts. You can go into the battery details by tapping on your battery. And once again, it's going to give you a percentage of state of charge, and then just working our way down from the top, our maximum capacity, our present capacity, remaining time. If there was a load, there'd be an estimated time remaining, what our current voltage is, what our current amperage is, if the heating pad is on or off, what firmware we're running, any error codes, our maximum temperature, our minimum temperature, and then the individual cell voltages. Tapping the 3 dots up above, we've got over-the-air updates, and then parameter info, and this just tells you basically what stuff means. And then going back to the home page, you can go to Renogy's community down here if you want. You can shop their store, and you have your account and points and a bunch of other stuff that you have access to in their app. All right, let's do heavy surge testing on this battery. I've got the perfect couple here. The Renogy 240 amp hour semi-solid state lithium iron phosphate battery paired with the Renogy 3000 watt low frequency inverter. This inverter handles surge loads like a champ, so we should put a pretty heavy load on the battery. I've got my amp clamp on the wire right there set to inrush, and what we're going to be powering is a 15,000 BTU air conditioner. This thing packs a very large punch when it comes to surge. So it fired it right up, and if you check it out here, we pulled 45 amps for that inrush. That is on AC power, so you have to do a little math here. 45 times 120, 5,400 watts. Divide that by 12.8, and we pulled 421 amps approximately from the battery at 12 volts. And there's absolutely no hesitation with this. So let's make it a little tougher. Okay, so now I've got an electric space heater running on high. Do not do what I'm doing here where I've got two very heavy loads plugged into a power strip. That's a bad idea. But for brief testing, this should be good. And if you take a look, we're currently pulling almost 130 amps out of that battery. So now let's hit it with the air conditioner and see if we overload something here. Oh, and it tripped off. Inverter automatically turned back on. So I think we indeed overloaded the battery that time because the inverter went completely off and then it turned back on. So nice to see that the battery has an automatic restart feature if you do overload it. The inrush only recorded 3.69 amps. Let's do another test here. This time I'm going to make the heater just be on medium. You can see right here that's still pulling a good 80 or so amps. Let's turn this AC unit on and see what happens. And we still overloaded it. Let's watch it restart here. There we go. Well, let's just do a reverse test. Let's go ahead and turn the air conditioner on. The fan is going, but the compressor isn't on yet. We'll get that to start up. The fan is just on this space heater, no heat. So we should be able to get this to kick on. Yep. Started it, no problem. See, once again, we hit about 44 amps AC power that time. And we're not pulling anything too crazy at this point at 86 amps. Now let's go ahead and hit the heater and see how that does. We're getting a discharge current warning. That's because we're over 300 amps of power coming out of the battery right now. You're pulling over 20 amps on the AC side. Still have the warning in the app. 253 amps coming out of the battery right now. But even still, it's still running just fine. It just turned off. It does look though like the battery is the thing that shut down this time because the inverter, we were actually operating slightly below its capacity. That battery ran a solid 2-ish minutes, slightly above its rated continuous output. They've programmed the BMS correctly so that this will give you a whole bunch of power as it's designed to do, way more than a standard 100 amp hour battery. But as soon as you exceed what it's designed to do, it is very quick to protect itself, which is a very good safety thing to see implemented. So I'd say on surge testing, as well as heavy load testing, it performed exactly as I expected it to. Well, let's put this bad boy in the freezer. Well, almost 24 hours later, this should be nice and frozen. You can see frost and whatnot is actually accumulating on the outside of the metal case right now. So it is very, very cold. And if we look at the app right here, a charge low temperature warning and a discharge low temperature warning. So 3 cold temperature warnings. The temperature sensors are recording -10 Celsius. So nice and chilly. I've got a charger hooked up. This battery should reject all charging. In fact, it seems to be rejecting discharging as well. But what should happen is it should trigger the heating pads hopefully, and that's at least what we want to test. This is a 50 amp charger, so it should have plenty of juice to run the heating pads and then charge the battery once the battery starts accepting a charge. Let's go ahead and turn it on. So the red light is flashing, meaning it's charging. However, if you take note here, there's no amps going into the battery, but you can see the heating mode status right here has now switched to on. So we are officially just running the heating pads to reheat the battery and allow it to charge. So cold weather charging protection and battery heating works exceptionally well. You can see the temperature is already rising in a meaningful way. So let's take a look inside this battery. So this cover was extremely difficult to remove. I don't know if you can see, but there's some kind of adhesive sealant all the way around this door that was applied before it got put into place, and that's probably what gives this its IP67 rating, which is very, very good. If you live in a flood-prone area, this would be the battery to consider. But check this out. A pretty sweet-looking BMS. There's a sticker of some variety there. A big heatsink right here in the middle to get rid of heat buildup, which I like to see. 3 pretty chunky wires here. I can't see any clear markings on it as far as what size. Maybe 8 gauge wire. If I kind of shine a light down in there, you might be able to see there's one big red positive back in the back there. And I can't see very well any markings on what it is. Right here you can see these kind of white insulated lines. Those are the ones that go to the heater. If you look at the cells themselves, you can see they're kind of rectangular, almost the standard prismatic type cells that we see. Now, without cutting one apart or whatever to compare, it'll be a little hard to tell exactly what kind of semi-solid state technology they're using. But the wording is specifically semi-solid state, so it's not 100% solid state at this point. Another thing that I would like to see, not a deal killer, but I would like to see, can you notice on the metal bus bars going across that there's no humps to relieve any kind of expansion or contraction? And maybe semi-solid state cells don't expand and contract like normal cells do. I think it looks pretty legit inside here. Sound off in the comments on things you noticed, because you guys always notice other stuff that I don't necessarily notice, and it'll be fun to hear your observations. So who's this battery for? I think this is going to really speak to those of you that have RVs and vans, where you need just insane durability, waterproof capabilities, small footprint, designed to take vibrations, from on the road and stuff like that. It's just built like a tank. And let's also not forget, the cold weather performance and self-heating features. So I think this really is targeted to that kind of audience. But certainly, people that may be just getting into solar and want a large, 12-volt system, maybe it's in a unconditioned space that gets cold, this could certainly satisfy that need. But I really think that this is targeting more the RV van life crowd. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Why would you buy it? What would it take for you to buy it? And what pros and cons do you guys see? I'll have links to it down in the description so you guys can check it out further. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype. Please do the 5 free things that really help the channel out. I really, really appreciate it. We've always got more great and exciting things on the horizon. So stay tuned for that. Everyone stay safe, and we'll catch y'all next time.